from Game Like a Mother. I specialize in games that can be played in 20 minutes or less. And Merry Christmas and welcome to my 12 Days of Christmas game list. What better way to celebrate the holidays than with an appropriately themed game? I have the family-oriented games towards the beginning of the list and the more strategic at the end of the list. And I have them all listed in the description of the video along with a timestamp if you want to skip to a particular one. And I've also included any of the how to play videos I've created for any of these games, although they may be for the standard version. So let's get started. First up, we have Merry Grinchmas, which is a family-level cooperative game in which your goal is to get more stars than the Grinch. And I love this game because it's very easy to get it up and running. There's no tricky rules. And when you're collecting cards, you're collecting them face up in front of you, which makes it so it's pretty easy to help younger kids as they're playing this game. If they're not really sure about the strategy, you can work together and help them. My 3-year-old, almost 4-year-old, will play this. We've played this as a whole family, and she can do okay and hang in there because she'll do the little spinner and we'll say, oh, you should get that card. And so then she'll sometimes accommodate what we tell her would be the good decision and grab a card, and we're able to work together to get her to help us win the game. And it's also fun because, especially if you're playing with a higher player count, a lot of times the Grinch is in the lead at the beginning of the game. And so there's a little bit of a tension. Oh no, the Grinch is beating us. And then it turns out by the end of the game, you start getting a bunch more of the wish cards. And usually you come back from behind and are able to beat the Grinch. We've played this a handful of times, and every time we have won, although it's been close and kids have been excited and into it every time. So the theme is great, the gameplay is great, the time of the game is excellent. So this is number one for a reason, can't miss for a family game for the holidays. Next, we have Elf Journey from the North Pole game, in which you are trying to score the most points by having Elf visit secret locations on your goal card on his way from the North Pole to New York City. And I love that they've managed to make the game just like they have in the movie, where he shows his journey from the North Pole to New York City, and it's this crazy zany path that leads all over the place. That's what this game is. You're playing out these little path cards on your way to trying to get him to these different spots on your goal card. And you can go off the edge of the board. You can double back on the path that you've already taken. It looks very funny by the end of the game when you see the path that you have all created. There are some fun game elements, like you can take an ice flow and go over to just warp over to the other side of the board. There are Gingerbread Man that if you go across those spots on the board, then you get an extra tile that gives you some extra points. And if you go across the maple syrup spot, that gives Buddy an extra path that you get to draw. So it's really fun, and I like how sometimes on the different goal cards, you can have the same location on multiple ones. So you can be really trying to get Buddy to go over to the candy cane forest, and then somebody else can be pretty happy if you get him over there because they also have that on their goal card. So I don't know how Elf became the Christmas classic that it is, but it's so fun. Kids love it. Adults love it. So the theme is spot on for this, and the gameplay is unique, simple, and very fun. Next, we have the Funko Stocking Stuffer games, which could have been their own 12 Days of Christmas list because there are so many of these, but they're all really good. So I just have them in one spot on this list, and I'm going to talk briefly about the 5 that we tested out. They were all good. I would just say if you're interested in any of these games, pick the theme that you're interested in and just go from there, and you should be good to go. We tried out Frosty the Snowman, Chip 'n Dale, Christmas Treasures, Dr. Seuss Grinch Grow Your Heart game, Elf Snowball Showdown, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Frosty the Snowman is geared for ages 4 and up and is a cooperative game in which you're trying to get your cards in the right order. Very cute, very doable for age 4. Chip 'n Dale Christmas Treasures, if you really enjoy the cartoon, the classic cartoon where Pluto is trying to catch Chip 'n Dale in the tree, that's kind of recreated in this game. You're trying to collect cards to get the most points. For Dr. Seuss Grinch Grow Your Heart, you're also trying to collect sets of cards worth the most points, but it changes on each round. You get to choose which type of set of cards you're trying to go for. And of the games that we tried out, This was probably our favorite, although they were all very good. So if you're going to pick just one, this would be our recommendation. For Elf Snowball Showdown, it was all the fun of a snowball fight without actually throwing anything. You place cards on each other, and then you get to roll a die and play cards to defend against snowball attacks. And it's an elimination game, which sounds like it can be a little bit rough around the holidays, but we found that there's enough luck involved, and the gameplay is so fun that even my very competitive boys that I played this with loved it. Didn't seem to mind when they got out, because a lot of times it wasn't done on purpose. The snowball attacks can shift from player to player, and it was so quick to play. They just wanted to play it on repeat. And finally, we tried out National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. You're trying to get your Christmas lights in order for this game. It's a cute tile laying game, and it was probably my husband's favorite. It has nice references to the movie while being appropriate for any audience. But they also have a Gremlins game, Cookie Swap, Princess Present Party, Jingle All the Way, Nightmare Before Christmas, and Lilo and Stitch. So just pick your favorite theme and you should be good to go. Next, we have Llama Drama Holiday Edition, which works as a stocking stuffer if you're looking for that. The standard version of this game is one of our most played games. It's this cute little card game in which you are trying to be the first to get rid of all of your cards. And you start out with 3 cards face down in front of you. You don't know what they are, and 3 cards face up on top of them. And then you're each dealt out a few cards in your hand, and you're playing through the deck of cards, and everybody takes a turn having to play the same card or higher. And if you can't play, you have to pick up the stack of cards in front of you. And that doesn't seem to happen much until the end of the game, because at the end of the game, once you've run out of the cards in the middle, you get to play the face-up cards in front of you, and then you get to flip over the mystery cards that were face down in front of you and hope that they're really good ones so that you run out and win the game. And oh my goodness, do kids love a mystery? The level of excitement when they're flipping over their cards is very high, and kids love llamas, and kids love specialty cards. So the llama theme is very fun. But then they have a lot of llama cards out there that all do special things. Like one will get rid of the stack, and then you get a bonus turn. And another one will make it so you can play any other specialty llama on top of that, or you have to start over again playing low cards. And there are things like Elf Llama, Gingerbread Llama, Santa Llama, Electric Llama. So this is an amazing choice if you have a kid who would like an Uno level game, but with just a little bit more going on, and it's holiday themed. Next, we have Animal Upon Animal Christmas Edition. The goal of this is to be the first to stack all of your holiday animals or items on top of the mountain. And you do this by taking turns rolling a little die that determine how many and which ones you're placing. And this game is great because, like a lot of games geared for younger ages, it is both game, but the pieces are so fun. They're kind of just a toy that you can play around with too if you like. There's a bunny, reindeer, penguin, squirrel, sleigh, star, and tree. So if you're playing this with a young child, they are definitely just going to want to play around with those for a little bit. But this is such a great game because for younger ages, it's both game and toy, but it's a really excellent dexterity game, and your kids won't grow out of it anytime soon. It will be one that they will enjoy for years. Next, we have Santa Cookie Elf Candy Snowman, which is a perfect stocking stuffer. And this is the holiday version of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, which is a hugely popular speed game that is reasonably mainstream. My son's 5th grade classroom has a copy in their class, and he gets to play it there on a regular basis. All the kids love it. So in this one, it has a nice Christmas theme, and all you do for this game is you try to be the first to get rid of all of your cards. And the game is you just say the name of the game as you're playing out cards. So you play out a card and you say Santa. Then the next person plays out a card and says Cookie. Then the next person plays out a card and says Elf. And if the card you play matches the word you just said, then you all try to slap on the card, and whoever is last to slap collects the cards, and then you just keep on going. And I like this game because I feel like it's a little more gentle than some of the other speed games out there, because as long as you are not the last, then you're doing okay in this game. And so as long as you're not the last at least some of the time. You can feel like you're hanging in there. And they have these specialty cards. They changed them up for this version. In this, they have star, drums, and reindeer. And if those come out, the star means silent night, and you have to say shh and then slap on the deck, on the pile of cards. If it's drums, you say rumpa-pum-pum and then slap. And if it's a reindeer, you make reindeer antlers and then slap. So this just seems to tickle the funny bone of every kid I've ever seen play it. Everybody has a really good time when they play. Win or lose, it's hilarious and fun. So if you need a speed game, this is perfect, and they have a nice Christmas theme. Next, we have Gudetama Holiday Edition, another stocking stuffer option because it's pretty small. It could fit in a stocking. It's called the Gudetama is the lazy egg. And the lazy egg doesn't want to take any cards. And so the goal of the game is to get the least amount of points. And there's an old card game called Cucumber that this is based off of. And all you do on your turn is you take turns playing out cards, you take a trick, and you have to play as high of a card as out there, and if you can't match it, you have to get rid of your lowest card, which is bad because at the end of the hand, everybody places out their final card, and whoever has the highest one left takes that many points into their hand, and you don't want points. Kids love this game. It's a very simple card game to learn, but there's some good strategy there to unpack once you've started playing it. Gudetama has been added to the Hello Kitty family, and it's a new character in Hello Kitty, so there's some fun pop culture there, and it's the cards are very cute and have funny things on them. And my parents took this to a game night at their church for the group that I was told to call those in their golden years. Played this together at a board game night, and people loved it. It's a nice little card game. Some people ran out and bought copies afterwards. So this is one of those games that I would say is great, cross-generational, where kids really enjoy it, parents, grandparents, so it's a great one to get, and then everyone can play and enjoy together. Next, we have Holiday Fluxx, which would also fit in a stocking. And is this the best version of Fluxx? There are a ton of versions out there. Some of them have different difficulty levels and different rules that they implement. This is perhaps one of your most family-friendly options when it comes to playing Fluxx. The premise of the game is just the rules change as you play, but you're trying to have the correct keeper cards in front of you to win whatever the current goal is out in the center of play. But you have different action cards that you can play that allow you to steal cards or do different things. There are surprise cards that allow you to do things even not on your turn. You can put out new rule cards that will then make your hand limit be 5 cards, or that will let you play 2 cards every turn, or even one that if you have Santa in front of you, then you get to draw an extra card and take 1 extra action each turn, until I played the action card to get rid of that because my son was getting a lot of, you could get rid of a rule for some of the action cards, so I got rid of that rule because he was getting a lot of extra plays, and he did end up beating me anyway. So the Fluxx games are very simple. They're always play a little bit differently, and this one has a great theme and is very family friendly. Next, we have the game 12 Days, which would also fit into a stocking. It's just a nice little card game in which you are going through the 12 days of Christmas and trying to end with the most points at the end. On each round, there are 12 rounds for the 12 days. On each round, you pass a card, bid on the day that's up in front of you, and then someone wins that day, and then you get to draw another card to replace your hand. And that's it. You go through 12 rounds. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. You get points for the days that you've bid on. Lowest card wins the day. And you get points for the cards you have in your hand at the end too. So passing really matters, because if you have the most 10s in your hand at the end of the game, then you score 10 extra points for that. But there are a lot of different moving parts in this game to keep track of, so the strategy can feel different and interesting every time you play, but the basics are so quick and easy to get up and running. So this just thematically great and very compact, easy to carry around, and fun to play on repeat. Next, we have the game Gingerbread House, in which you are a witch trapping fairy tale characters trying to eat your gingerbread house. Is this Christmas themed? There's a gingerbread house involved, so we're saying yes. This is a game that's about the same level of strategy as like a Zool or a Splendor, but it's different in the game mechanism that it uses because the different characters you're trying to collect have different gingerbread tiles on them, different colors of gingerbread tiles. And you get to collect those tiles or tokens by placing down double tiles to build your gingerbread house on a 9x9 grid on your little card. And when you place one of those tiles, you get to collect the 2 items underneath it. And so you're building up your house, and there are different bonuses if you get, so you have 2 of the same item next to each other and you place a tile on top of that. That's like the key to the game. Then you get 3 items instead of just 2, and that can be really helpful as you're racing to collect these items and get the most points by getting the most fairy tale creatures like Little Red Riding Hood, Peter Pan, a basilisk. There's a great variety in characters you're collecting. You get points for collecting the characters, for trapping them, Merry Christmas, or you get points by completing a level to the gingerbread house. And once a level is completed, you get a bonus card. And in your intro game, it's just worth the point value on the card. But if you get into the game and get to where you're used to the strategy, you play a standard game in which you flip over that bonus card. And that allows you to score extra points for things like having a certain number of good or nice characters that you've collected, or by having evil characters like the basilisk. If you have a certain number of those you've collected, then you get points for that. Or you could get points for having your gingerbread house up to a certain level by the end of the game. So the gameplay is really unique, but it feels very intuitive when you play. Great theme. Easy to get up and running once you've played one time, and I would play this on repeat year-round. Next, we have Patchwork Christmas Edition, which is exactly the same as standard Patchwork, but with a Christmas theme attached. And you know what? If people have 17 different versions of Monopoly because they think it's fun, you're allowed to have a Christmas version of Patchwork because that makes it more fun for you around the holidays. Patchwork is just one of the best 2-player strategic games out there. We have Patchwork Express, which you can play in under 20 minutes. And in regular Patchwork, it takes a little bit longer, but it's such a good game. In this game, you have polyomino, Tetris-y type quilt pieces that you're trying to place so they perfectly fit on a square board once you've pieced them all together. And in the Christmas edition, they're Christmas presents and they're wrapped up fancy and they look really cute. And you earn these pieces by collecting buttons, which you then use to purchase them as you move your pawn on a different board. And as you're moving it along, you're collecting buttons, you're passing by other players, and it's such a unique game in which it isn't just, okay, it's my turn, now it's your turn, it's my turn, it's your turn. Sometimes you get to collect multiple pieces in one turn, depending on which quilt pieces or present pieces are available in front of you, and how many buttons you have, and how quickly you're moving along the board, because it's your turn until you pass by the other player. So there's just a bit more going on in this game, but it's very satisfying to play. So if you don't have Patchwork, get every version of Patchwork because they are all fun and should just be a family favorite. And finally, we have Welcome To with the Winter Wonderland expansion. The base game, Welcome To, is a flip and write game in which you're flipping out cards with different numbers on them, and they have different bonuses attached to, like fences that you use to make neighborhoods or pools or parks, and you're basically trying to fulfill different city planning goals and get all of your numbers in order on 3 different streets that you're collecting, which sounds like it wouldn't be that amazing or stand out, but it is my current most played game. And usually I play games just with people in person, but this is the one that in the evening, if I have a few minutes, this is the game I'll play on Board Game Arena for free, and it's awesome, and you should check it out. And I've logged over 100 plays so far, so I'm fairly into the game, it would be safe to say. And so what the Winter Wonderland expansion adds to the game, it's perhaps the friendliest and the easiest expansion to accommodate, and it feels very positive when you play. You're just trying to make sure all of your numbers in a row are in sequence as much as possible because you get a bonus point for each number. It symbolizes Christmas lights in a row on the board. And then it comes with 3 different city planning cards as well that you get bonuses, like if you have an entire row in sequence, then you get a bonus for that. And it helps you win the game. So if you're wanting to have a magical Winter Wonderland experience this winter, I would suggest this game. So, Meowie Catmas, thank you for tuning in for our 12 days of Christmas games. I hope all your Christmas wishes come true and that Santa Claus comes and visits you this year. Thanks, and see you next time from Game Like a Mother.